Adventure riders today are facing a new set of challenges that really haven't ever happened before in this market space. And that is that there are more gear options and setups and systems and accessories and everything than ever before. Before, it used to be just like waterproof jackets with armor in them and some vents and pockets, and that was pretty much it. Now, obviously, we have systems like a waterproof shell, armor over a base layer, or a mesh jacket that includes the armor and the abrasion protection on which you'd then wear a waterproof shell. Or, in a more traditional sense, waterproof jacket, everything integrated together, armor inside, abrasion built in, vents included. Now, with all these systems, if there was a perfect solution for that, we would just make that. KLIM would just make the perfect adventure jacket with a perfect matching pant, and so would everybody else. Everybody else would make the same exact type of system. That's not the case. Different rider preferences, different riding styles, on-road, off-road, different weather conditions, hot, humid, hot, dry, rainy, cold, wet. So huge amount of variables to build for, and we're also kind of restricted by a certain extent by the laws of physics and the laws of finances. What I mean by that is, we could build you a $5,000 jacket, right? But that's not very cost effective. It's not gonna give you more gas money to ride your motorcycle further or buy tires or whatnot. Same way, talking about physics, we could build you a literal metal suit of armor, right? With some padding or something inside of it, or a jacket and pant perfectly made out of an airbag, or we could tell you to wear a mesh off-road jersey if you wanna be comfortable in the heat. But each one of those is gonna pay you a pretty heavy compromise in some other area. So when we're looking at the drive behind building something like the Badlands Pro or the Badlands Pro A3, we have to kind of consider what the problem is that we're solving for. And the answer is, with the Badlands Pro and the Badlands Pro A3, the solution we're going for is multi-tiered. And at every tier, we're trying to address a specific problem. But we're talking about pockets, storage. You ask, what kind of pockets does it have? We say, yes, it has all the pockets. So what we're trying to do there is, in the case of long distance travel, long distance world travel, you're doing BDRs, multiple BDRs a year. We're trying to build a solution that has all the on-body storage options you could possibly need. Not that we're telling you to use all the 10 plus pockets, but we're trying to give you options to put your chapstick somewhere and your earplugs somewhere and your snacks somewhere and your keys somewhere, wallet, phone, charger cables, and so forth. So the idea there is we're giving you options to build your system out exactly how you want. So you're not relying on a tank bag only. The idea is so you can build your system exactly how it's gonna work the best for you. Long answer to the question there. When it comes to pockets, we're trying to build the best possible system that you can then optimize for your particular use case. Another example is ventilation. People pick up the Badlands Pro in the dealership and they say, oh, this is pretty heavy, right? It must be hot. We hear that all the time at shows and events, and people say, hey, this feels pretty heavy. It's heavy, that must mean it's hot. That's a pretty common misconception. Like I said, we hear it all the time. The truth is, when you build in zippers, right, to make vents, a couple things have to happen. One, you have to have additional threads, additional stitching, additional waterproof backing material. You also, to meet CE regulations, you have to have a special kind of mesh behind the opening of the vent to protect in the event of a crash with abrasion on an open vent, for example. So a ton of things have to then happen, which add cost, add bulk, add weight. You pick up the Badlands Pro in a dealership and you're like, oh, this is heavy. Truth is, it's also our most ventilated GORE-TEX shell-oriented piece on the market. What that does is it lets you flow a ton of air through the jacket, through the arms, through the legs, and keep you cooler. Idea there being, if you're in really high temperatures, you actually don't want a pure mesh jacket. If you're in 110-degree heat, it's almost better to have something that slows that airflow down, lets it wick away the sweat, cool you down, and then control that airflow through the torso. The opposite being wearing a full mesh piece in really high temperatures, you can actually convection oven yourself into heavy dehydration. So just food for thought there to optimize that system exactly for the right temperature. Another example in this kind of tiered, structured approach that I'm taking here with the ventilation, the storage, that brings us to impact protection. It brings us particularly to the Rogue armor pads. This is a new product for us. We are updating all the GORE-TEX outerwear, street, and adventure products in 2026 with our own proprietary Rogue armor. There's a whole separate video on this where the product team talks through the details and developing the process of building these pads. It took us like 5 years to do it. It's a crazy undertaking to go out and build your own protector. But the idea here is, when we look for a goal, we want to achieve something and do that through either a partner that exists already in the field or through us making that solution. Example here being, we were looking for a pad that was thinner, lighter, and more breathable than our prior options in this product, while also maintaining the same impact absorption levels. So what do? We go out and we look for a solution that meets those needs. Nothing on the market exists that accomplishes what we want to do. What do? We make our own, and that brings us to the Rogue armor system. What's in the Badlands Pro A3? It's called Rogue EXP. EXP stands for expanded protection. This is lighter, like I said, so we're saving over 240 grams of weight across the jacket and pant just through this armor change alone, not to mention it is thinner and it's more breathable. It's got much more breathable surface area across the whole pad. So we're not sacrificing coverage, we're not sacrificing impact protection or impact absorption levels. We are beating everything we want to beat while also being lighter and more breathable and thinner. So now you're probably wondering, why am I talking about this with the Badlands Pro and the Badlands Pro A3 lumped together? And that's because those two jackets follow the same fit, the same patterning. There's a fundamental key difference. The Badlands Pro is rated CE AAA, okay? That's kind of that middle tier. Most motorcycle products are in that AA range, single A being a step lower in abrasion protection based on test certifications, test parameters. And then that AAA rating is the highest rating. That's typically reserved for leather track racing suits or like really, really heavy canvas or denim, something that's a thick material that's got a lot of time to wear through when it's being abraded. We were working on some projects here at KLIM internally, and we found a fiber called Vectron. It's a Vectron fiber. And when we weave that Vectron fiber into fabric, we can dramatically increase the abrasion and tear and tensile strength of that fabric. So the materials team is like, hey, we got this awesome product, this awesome material we can work with, what can we do with it? And we're looking at the Badlands Pro, and many areas of the Badlands Pro, such as you're familiar with, the Superfabric on the elbows, the knees, the shoulders, those areas already pass CE AAA requirements. It's the rest of the jacket that needs to then step up to meet that AAA requirement. This was back before 2021. This was like 5 years ago at this point. So that's when that first jacket came out. So what I'm saying is the project started even before that. We're now, I think, on our third generation. We're multiple generations in on the Badlands Pro A3. A3 stands for AAA. Two of these jackets now, you're asking. Well, the answer is it's more expensive. The Badlands Pro A3 is significantly more expensive. And when we first released it, we released it in a limited run, just with a couple hundred pieces. Those sold out immediately. We're like, okay, cool. There's a demand for this. There are riders who really care about their safety and they want to wear the best of the best. So like I said, between the Rogue EXP upgrades with our own proprietary pads, with the little touch point improvements like zipper garages, for example, and the fit of the Badlands Pro and the Badlands Pro A3, and now those two options of that top tier Badlands Pro A3 and the still extremely effective and very popular Badlands Pro, you have basically all the tools you need to choose what is the next adventure gear for your next trip, and not just your next trip, but many years after that.